Hola amigos y amigas, you are now with Jocelyn y como siempre as always, I'm so grateful you are here. If you are a returning subscriber, welcome back. You already know all the goodness we're going to be getting into in this video, and if you are new here, welcome as well. If you enjoy lifestyle, spirituality, self-development, journaling, heart-to-heart conversations, and all of that good stuff, then make sure to click subscribe so you don't miss out on any of my weekly videos and you join in on this beautiful, growing community. Now in this video, I'm going to be sharing 8 journaling prompts that are directly inspired by our upcoming Libra full moon that we have taking place on April 16th, 2022. I'm so excited to share these journaling prompts with you, and I'm also very excited to briefly share that amongst this Libra full moon, my spring collection is out on my online shop, and it is only available this week. And this shirt that I'm wearing that says "You are your greatest love story" is a part of the collection. I freaking love this shirt, and I feel like my lover collection that is intending to acknowledge and honor the lover that exists within all of us is so timely with this Libra full moon, because this Libra full moon is acknowledging and honoring and highlighting, illuminating the lover that exists in all of us, really bringing forth heart consciousness. So if you would like to support your girl and place a pre-order for my collection, then head on over to my site. I'll put a link in the description below so you can go check that out. But without further ado, y'all, this Libra full moon is one to tap into, and one that is calling us to really tap into ourselves and really look at ourselves in the mirror and continue to really do a lot of the releasing work. I think that when we think of manifesting, we think of obtaining, of gaining more things, but we forget that manifestation is more release work than it is receiving work, right? It's like if you're in a hot air balloon and you are ascending into the air, what you actually need to do to go into higher levels of air, into higher timelines, if you will, is to release the weight, is to make yourself lighter so that you can go higher. And so I think that that's where the collective is at right now, is in order for us to continue ascending into our higher potentials, into our higher timelines, we have to continue doing the releasing work so that then therefore we can do the receiving, right? And these prompts are going to touch on that. They're going to touch on us confronting ourselves, us connecting with our heart, us acknowledging what it is that we're letting go, what it is that we're tuning into, and all of that. So I'm excited to share them with you. Let's get into it. Here are our 8 journaling prompts. If my emotional state of being were a landscape, how would I describe it? As those of you who have been watching these videos know, I like to begin these prompts, these videos, with a prompt that gets the juices of the mind, body, and spirit flowing, right? And I like to activate our imagination. And so if your emotional state of being were a landscape, how would you describe it? Because I know I'm not the only one who has been feeling a lot of feelings lately, right? Life has been lifing, feelings have been feeling, and I think that it is important for us under this Libra full moon, and really just in general, consistently daily, to check in with ourselves. It's important for us to be checking in with our emotional state of being, and I think that us envisioning our emotional state of being as a landscape and describing what that landscape looks like, feels like, smells like, tastes like, sounds like, is a beautiful way for us to really tune in with ourselves and see where we're at emotionally. In this moment, how would you describe the landscape of your emotional state of being? What is the temperature like? Is there a flood going on? Is the river flowing? Are there some stagnancies taking place in the waters? Are there really mountainous peaks that are taller than Mount Kilimanjaro? Are things rocky? Are things smooth? Does it smell like fresh air? Is it polluted? Like, really just get super honest and descriptive with yourself on like, yo, this is how I'm feeling right now. And if my feelings were a landscape, things would be kind of dark, or things would be super bright and airy and freeing and liberated and full of meadows and flowers and springtime. Like, how would you describe your landscape? Keep it real with yourself and have fun being imaginative with this one. How have I been making life harder on myself? How have I been making life easier on myself? Initially, I was going to make this prompt, have I been making life harder or easier on myself? But then when I really thought about it, I was like, you know, we're all probably making life harder on ourselves in certain aspects, and we're all making life easier on ourselves in other aspects. I don't think we're all either completely making it harder or completely making it easier. I think that there's levels and depths to it. So I wanted us to take a moment to acknowledge, where have I been making life harder on myself, right? Like, life is harder. Life is hard as it is. And I think that it often goes unnoticed how we have the tendency to just make it harder on ourselves, harder than it needs to be. If anything, like, we should be the ones, the one person, the one thing, the one energy in our lives that is making life easier. And in ways, again, as I mentioned, I'm sure that we are. So I want us to take a moment to acknowledge the ways that we're making life easier on ourselves too. My intention for this prompt, and for a lot of these prompts, is to get us to confront ourselves under this Libra full moon and acknowledge what it is that needs to be changed, and not acknowledge what it is that needs to be let go of. Okay? So, how have you been making life harder on yourself? And how have you been making life easier? And from there, take a moment when you're done journaling this prompt. If you do journal this prompt, take a moment to observe, sit back and observe what it is that you wrote down, and acknowledge, like, wow, I've been making my life harder in these ways. What changes can I make, right? To add more to the list of ways that I'm making my life easier. What do I need to accept so that I may experience peace? Y'all, we are ascending, and I'm affirming this for all of us right now, all of us tuned into this digital frequency through this video in this moment. I'm affirming and confirming that we are ascending into a timeline where we are prioritizing our peace. We are living a life full of peace and full of ease. And one major way that we are ascending into that timeline, we are manifesting that timeline into our lives, is through acceptance. And I know that so many of us have been investing in acceptance work, right? Into accepting what is as it is, accepting ourselves as we are, accepting others as they are, accepting life. And it's incredibly important. And we're going to continue to awaken to the importance of accepting, especially and specifically accepting what we cannot change and what is out of our control. So, what can you accept in this moment of your life, in this season of your life? What do you feel intuitively, wholeheartedly? What do you know deep down you need to accept? I just need to accept myself in this way. I just need to accept this person in this way. I just need to accept life in this way because of this, right? Get even deeper with this prompt by asking yourself why. Why do you need to accept this? And in accepting these things that we're journaling, we're acknowledging that through that acceptance, we are ascending into the timeline of peace, into the life of peace that we know we deserve and that we deeply desire. What is my heart deeply desiring to give and receive? As I mentioned in the beginning of this video, we are expanding progressively into heart consciousness. We are becoming more heart coherent. And if you think about it, like all the healing that we're doing and that we've been doing has been leading us back to the purity of our hearts. All the relationship work that we've been doing, the relationships with our families, our friends, ourselves, becoming more consciously aware of the karmic cycles we have been repeating in our relationships and how they have been affecting us, and growing progressively more eager and ready to heal from those cycles, to break those cycles, to transcend from those cycles. We have been becoming more heart coherent. We have been gaining a greater heart consciousness. And for those of you who watch these lunation journal prompts videos that I share with you, you know that I love including a prompt often that has to do with us tuning into our heart's vibration, having a conversation with our heart. And under this Libra full moon, I couldn't not include a prompt that brings up our heart. And I feel like at this time, our hearts are becoming louder in expressing what they desire, what we truly desire to give to ourselves, to the world, how it is that we want to be of service, how it is that we want to show up, what it is that we want to create and share, and what it is that we want to receive, what our hearts want to receive. So let's tune into that. Let's have a conversation with our heart, and let's check in and see what the purity of our heart desires to give and desires to receive. In what ways do I feel ready to approach me and my life differently? We are living in a time, my friends, where there is great transformation, awakening, change, activation taking place in the collective, and therefore, obviously, in ourselves as individuals. To the point where all these energies that have been opening us up to further progress, to further develop into our highest potentials, have perhaps made you feel like a new you seemingly every single day, like you're waking up to a new version of you, or like you're just finding yourself changing and transforming and evolving at a more rapid pace than ever before. And it's like you're trying to catch up with all the integrations, all the downloads, all the newfound wisdom that you are gaining. And at this time, it's so important for us to be consistently checking in with ourselves on how it is that we are approaching ourselves and our lives differently, how we are perceiving ourselves and our lives differently, how we are receiving ourselves and our lives differently. And I wanted to highlight this under this Libra full moon as we are continuing to do this letting go, this releasing, and therefore this becoming. So if you resonate with this, with what I just said, then this prompt is especially for you. But let's take a moment to really describe the ways in which we feel ready to approach ourselves and our lives differently, and try to be as specific and detailed as possible in the ways in which you feel ready to do things, to see things, to perceive things, receive things, approach things, you and your life differently. What truths am I choosing to root, ground, and center myself in? I feel called to hold space for the truth under this Libra full moon. And this came up a lot in the energy reading for this week that I dropped on my channel last Sunday for this Libra full moon. So if you would like to learn more about the energy of this Libra full moon and of this week, then definitely go check out that energy reading. It is so good. But what really came up in that reading is the encouragement to really tap into, tune into, ground ourselves in the truth and in trust. But in this prompt, we're focusing on the truth. And what I love about this prompt is that it gets us to reflect on what it is that we are perceiving to be true. Where we are gifted the moment to check in with ourselves and see what it is that we are believing to be true and what truths we are choosing to believe, to ground ourselves in, root ourselves in, and center ourselves in. Because y'all, during this time of like great change and transformation and awakening and enlightenment and all that, it's so important that we are grounding ourselves with Mother Earth, with earthly grounding energies, so that we're not getting lost in the sauce, okay? So take a moment to ask yourself, first and foremost, what truths you believe to be true. And what I mean by this, y'all, is like when you are experiencing great change, and a lot of time what change brings about for us humans is doubt, fear, insecurity, worry, stress, anxiousness, all of that. And when we're grounding ourselves in our grounding practices that are rooted in truth, we are calming ourselves, calming our nervous system, and reminding ourselves of these truths. Some example of these truths may be that all is in divine order, right? These truths may be that we are incredibly powerful and able to overcome, and we are incredibly capable to journey through this expansion. So what are those truths that you're centering yourself in as you're journeying through all of this change, through this expansion? I hope all of this made sense. I can speak so much on this specific prompt, but I really just want us to acknowledge, one, what truths we are rooting ourselves in, and kind of just bringing forth the importance that we are grounding ourselves at this time, and making sure that what we are grounding ourselves in is sincerely the truth. What words of encouragement am I needing to hear from myself right now? At first, I was just going to leave this prompt at what words of encouragement do I need to hear right now? But I wanted to include from myself, because y'all, I really feel like it is just so important that we are confronting ourselves during these times, like really looking in the mirror and developing a more intimate relationship with ourselves to the point where we can turn to ourselves for comfort, for honest conversation, for truth, for validation, for support, for encouragement. And I feel like if I left out from myself and I just mentioned the prompt, what words of encouragement do I need to hear right now? We would perceive this prompt as what words of encouragement we need to hear from others. But we are not on, we are ascending from that programming, from that timeline of us needing external validation, of us needing external celebration and encouragement to keep going, to believe in ourselves, to lift ourselves up, to validate ourselves, right? Like we need to be doing that for ourselves. We need to be able to turn to us for those things. And this is a time for us to strengthen that. And I'm not dismissing the importance of receiving external support, because community is incredibly important and it is in our human nature. We do thrive in community. We do thrive in relational support and encouragement. But we have, I feel, gone to the point where, to the extremes of being so dependent on those external energies, that now is a time for us to be really pouring into ourselves, focusing on ourselves, being able to rely on ourselves in these ways to where I can turn to me for the words of encouragement that I need. So this is that moment, y'all, turning to ourselves for the words of encouragement that we need right now. So what are those words of encouragement that you need from yourself right now? How would I describe the healthiest relationship in my life? Why is it the healthiest? We are continuing to heal in the realm of relationships. I have found it to be so beautiful and timely that the theme of relationships has come to the forefront for us over the past couple of years, few years really, progressively into our conscious awareness. And we are continuing to ride that wave of relationships being in the forefront of our focus of what it is that we need to heal. So I wanted to end these journaling prompts with a prompt focused on relationships. And I felt like it would be beneficial for us to reflect on a relationship that we consider to be the healthiest relationship in our life. May it be our relationship with ourselves, with a parent, with a family member, with a friend, with a pet, with nature, with God, with whatever relationship you feel is the healthiest in your life. If you have more than one, pick one. If you want to write about more than one, go ahead and describe why we consider that to be the healthiest relationship in our lives. What makes it the healthiest relationship in your life? And I feel like we will find out a lot about ourselves and our needs and desires in relationships when we describe this healthiest relationship of our life. So I'm excited to see what it is that we do discover and uncover from this prompt. Should you choose to journal this one, I'm definitely going to be journaling this prompt. So I hope that you enjoy it. and that, my friends, are the 8 journaling prompts for our upcoming Libra full moon that we have taking place on April 16th, 2022. I hope that you resonated with at least one of these prompts, and if you did, let me know which one in the comment section below. You already know I love cultivating community and connecting with you all in the comments, so I hope to meet some of you all there. Let's talk about these prompts. Let's talk about our feelings and reflections and this Libra full moon and what's going on under here on this planet Earth. And again, this spring collection that I just dropped is ending at the end of this week. So this Libra full moon weekend is the last weekend to place a pre-order for my spring collection. So if you want to shop this tea that speaks a truth that you are your greatest love story, and you would like to browse other items from this collection, then head on over to my shop. Link in the description. Thank you all so much for being here. I appreciate every single one of you. Thank you for doing this work. Thank you for turning inward. Thank you for holding space with yourself. Thank you for bringing me into your present moment. And I look forward to seeing you in my next video. Peace and blessings. So much love and gratitude. Bye.